What's up? Welcome to Lunch Club. I got us focused in on one spot. Most of you have probably seen this painting in progress. It is 25 inches by 40 inches, so it's pretty large, but we're just looking at a little, probably like 10 by 10 area. Hi, Patty. Hi, Giselle. And yeah, so if you haven't been here before, welcome. I started Lunch Club at the beginning of the pandemic as a way to connect with everyone, and also to just kind of build a little bit of community and think about how it is that we can hang out together at a big project table, but also be socially distant, and handle all of those things. And it's turned into this. So when I don't have guests on Instagram, I do a paint with me, and I found YouTube to be a better format, which you can probably already see. The image quality is just so much better, especially if you're using it on your computer. So for those of you who just want a little ASMR texture experience, that'll be this for you. And if you want to like see how I use gouache, this is a great chance to see that. Couple of notes about my tools. I'm using gouache. Hannah Yu and Danielle Bennett showed me how to mix in. Hi, Kelly. Hi, both Kellys. Awesome. Hi, Nora. So I have some mixed palettes here. Most people know about these. They taught me how to add honey to them so they don't crack, which I'm actually in a situation where I use so much gouache that I'm having to remix colors a lot. Like I made this last Thursday and you can see they're almost empty. I use so much more gouache than I do when I use watercolor. It's just thicker, more opaque experience. So I am in a situation where I'm trying to figure out how to best like appease that so I can actually mix larger quantities. And I think I'm going to have to get a different system going. But for now, this is what I'm using. I also have this other set of gouache, and I'm using my case for making paints depending on what colors I need. Sometimes I use the indigo to like make the colors a little deeper or richer. And it depends on the project. Like I used that little mini gouache palette I made for all of my painting in the desert this last weekend. Let's see. Would you want to mix colors and put it in an empty tube? I would. I guess my only thing with that is it's like, what am I putting it on? Like, I don't like it when they crack and crumble. So I'm just trying to think like maybe I would put them in like little mini like jars, and work that way, and then kind of like be mixing from there. I just kind of, I'm gonna have to figure it out. I don't know. Or maybe I just get comfortable with like remixing colors frequently, which, so far is not bad. It's just sometimes kind of annoying. But anyway, so now I have this big scene. It's got like a bunch of different people all kind of hanging out. If you haven't seen it before, definitely check out past YouTube hangs. And right now we're starting to add like a bunch of flowers. So let's see if I can show you. So I have like all sorts of like sunflowers, and it's got a little bit of a sheen to it right now because the sunlight is coming from the side. Oh yeah, thanks for being here, Nancy. I'm so happy that you're excited about it. But yeah, so I'm adding flowers and stuff. All the people in this painting, I want them to feel like they're just hanging out, kind of relaxing, almost like they're in kind of like a place where they get to take a deep breath. So everything I'm painting is kind of thinking about that. Like, what would be a place of like solace or comfort for me? And it feels like a big field of flowers right now. So the painting I posted on YouTube earlier today was actually what would be most comforting for me, all the takeout, right? And that's still true, but it's springtime here, and I'm just really feeling all the flowers that are happening. So we're going to be kind of focusing on that. I've been starting to dry flowers. which I don't know if you have any experience doing that, but it's really fun. And starting to think about them kind of like in a folk art type way. So that's been a lot of fun. I also like when the flowers are almost like bigger than the people. They kind of become like their own little like characters in the painting. Is that in focus? I think it is. Sometimes it's hard for me to tell. Here we go. I think that's better. But yeah, thinking about how you can like play with reality a little bit. I love those portals as a way of doing that. Oh, exciting news for all my lunch club friends who've been along for the vaccine drama of trying to get an appointment. I got an appointment. I'm getting my vaccine tomorrow. So pretty excited about that. I hope that if you've been looking for getting yours, that it happens for you. I was looking pretty diligently. Booked it. Yeah, thanks. Thanks, Patty. Pretty stoked. Pretty stoked. I knew it would happen, but it just sometimes it feels, I was starting to feel like, I mean, there's only so much work I can put into finding this, right? It felt a little daunting. Oh, and I wanted to say you can always mute me and put on your favorite album if that feels like maybe you just don't feel like hearing someone talk. I get that. I just yammer on about shit. I added a little bit of blue, so this is going to be a little violet. Kelly says we got our first one last week and our oldest daughter got her first one yesterday. It's such a relief. Oh, it is such a relief. I cannot wait. So excited. Patty says, I feel bad for the people that don't have all the resources I have, computer access, etc. How do they get an appointment? That's really true. I've been thinking a lot about like, can I go, door to door and see if my neighbors need help? I do think that, just even being able to look it up on my phone is such a privilege. And there's some people who just are too tired or are working a bunch, and that just feels like such a crazy thing to have to deal with. Yeah. Because it was not easy. It took up a lot of time. I was looking, and I do think San Francisco is doing a pretty good job, but it was not straightforward. So I can't imagine. Oh my God, my coffee's hot. I just got hit. What do we think little violet leaves look like? I'm going to do little baby ones. Because I don't really need it to look real. I do like that color. So when you paint with gouache, when you put a ground down like this, part of why I like doing that is it pulls it up so you can see it coming through in the legs, which can kind of actually act as a means of like creating shadow without necessarily having to like paint shadow in, if that makes sense. So if you have like a dark ground, like this red oftentimes mixes into a darker color, like this deep purple color, that almost like just even putting a wet brush over the top of it begins to create like shadows without having to like overdo like being correct about shadows, if you know what I mean. Oh, I know what I want to do. There were these really cool plants in the desert, and I can't remember what they were called. Oh, good, you can see that. But I pointed them out to my sister, and they were just everywhere where we were. So we were really in the middle of nowhere. Like there's nothing around. We stopped in Palm Springs, but that was the most civilization we saw. And we drove for really long stretches in the middle of nowhere. And it was pretty neat, but we were just surrounded by parks, like national parks and state parks. Hi, Jillionette. Oh yeah, Giselle. So it is like the red ground is regular gouache. I don't use acrylic gouache. I know some people do and really like that. I really like, see how I'm painting these leaves and the red is already coming up. I love that it mixes like that without me really having to work super hard. You do have to kind of like spend some time ensuring that you're painting pretty opaquely. So there's a lot of like thick paint on my brush. It's a different feeling than watercolor because with watercolor, you're using a lot more water, right? Even when you're painting in like relatively dry layers, like we do in my drawing with watercolor class, you're still using much less water. It feels more like painting with like acrylics or oils in that way. You're almost painting with like a paste. Which, you know, sometimes people don't like depending on if the feeling, how it feels when you paint is important to you, you might not like this. That looks like you're painting an octillo cactus. Oh, maybe. They have such a cool shape. It has like red blossoms up at the top, which was so neat. And they almost felt like wood, like almost like had a woody base to them. You know, it wasn't, I painted it green here, but it was almost like they dry out. There hadn't been any rains where we were, so there wasn't a ton of wildflowers. I was kind of hoping we'd get to see some wildflowers. But the cactuses, you know, they do great. that's their whole job. But these ones, they dry out a little bit. And then the only thing that has foliage was the top and the blossoms up at the top. I made up a whole reason for it and told it to my sister and she believed me. And then I was like, I just made that up based on like general knowledge of plants and propagation. It's not real. Maybe it is, but I don't know. We should Google it. But yeah, so the blossoms and then like maybe a few leaves at the top and then the rest looked like almost like tree branches or something. It was pretty neat. All right, so we're going to do the blossoms at the top. I do like this. I want it to be a little bit lighter. So I'm going to do like a little second coat there, which happens a lot with gouache, sometimes, especially regular gouache, because you're constantly, you know, it dries a little different. I find that I like to layer because part of why I like using gouache is I like it to be a little caked up. I like it to pop in certain ways. But also, you know, just like watercolor, you can know all these things, but you can't really control what's going to happen, which is part of what's so fun. It can also be part of what is so painful, but I think it's better if we look at it like it's fun. All right. So those look good. Let's get back into that violet. I want to use a little bit of just white. So the other thing about having a painted ground like this is sometimes you actually can dry brush like this to allow some of that color underneath to come through in a more gritty way. So less like a paste, like I was describing before, and more like a chalk or a pastel, but you're just kind of like scraping it over. And I use cold press paper, so you can kind of see that. Let's see if I can zoom in for you. There we go. Wait for it. Yeah. So you can see some of that texture. You can see like the color that's coming through, which I really love playing around with. I think dry brushing gets a bad rap. I also I also think dry brushing doesn't feel as fun as using a lot of water, right? But it's the combination of all of the different textures and all the different techniques that I think is such a good time. So that's what we're here for. Let's see. We'll do and then I think those will dry a little darker. Can't wait to get to paint wildflowers from nature. Yeah, right? Let's see. We had a long winter here in Finland. Love the Crocs, by the way. Oh man, I feel for all of my friends who live in places with long winters. It's got to be hard. It's got to be hard. Like you got to be a trooper, right? I don't know that I would be able to I mean, I guess you just figure it out. You reach down deep and you figure out how to deal with that, but I'm so not used to it. I don't know if I'd make it. I'm not sure what this is going to be, but we're just going to go for it. And then when you use like a red as the background, you start to think about like what you know about color theory, right? Like green and red are on the opposite ends of the spectrum. So I'm actually using a green on top right now. Let's see. I'm using a green on top right now. And so it's starting to like actually look almost like a deep black color, which is, not necessarily what you would imagine. But if you're allowing it to be a little bit wet, pulls up some of that red underneath or just shows it through and it begins to trick your eye a little bit. We had 80 degrees for a few days and now it's back to 40. Oh, with maybe snow now. With maybe snow tomorrow. Not as bad as Finland though, I'm sure. Hey, we're not comparing. Still sounds tough. I don't know. I would have a hard time. I just keep going back to I would have a hard time. My hearts go out to you. Let's see. We'll do like some weird little made up flowers. Because why not? And then we'll go in with some leaves. Maybe we'll keep some. It'll be a little bit like buds or something. Patty said it's like, nope, don't put away your sweaters. I know. You probably were like all gearing up. We're experiencing like warm weather for here. It's supposed to be like 80 degrees on Sunday. I'm like, no. I mean, I like warm weather, but 80 degrees? I don't know about that, That feels tough. That feels tougher than I'm ready for. Although it was really hot in Palm Desert, so maybe I am. I mean, I can be ready for it. I'll get ready. How about that? Oh, I like these little leaves. Deep, deep. I just want it to feel like everyone is together, but also feeling like they can disappear into like the plants and the portals and the clouds. We'll put some clouds through. Mm-mm-mm. it's nice too. Yesterday, I painted with my Patreon peeps, and was I yesterday? Nope, Tuesday, and worked in my sketchbook and painted like landscapes based from memory from my little trip, and was like, thinking about that, and then to come back and work here and kind of bring some of that information with me feels really good. Different way of working. Patty says, do you have AC there? I know some places don't, and then gets hot and they don't have any relief. Ooh. I mean, we don't have AC. We really don't need it like 98% of the year. My boyfriend would disagree. He's very dramatic and puts like a fan in the windows and is like very intense about it. Just because he gets too hot and can't handle it. But I don't know. I feel like it's fine. It's not my favorite, but at the same time, it's like I said, like 2% of the year. Nora says, now we just push through it. The spring tastes so much sweeter after 6 months of darkness and snow. I can't imagine. Yeah, you just have to push through it. Admirable. Admirable. Plus, if you're used to it, I do think like we all just adjust to things, right? And we don't even question it. Like, I definitely feel like there's all sorts of things that I just am like, yeah, that's just what it's like here. I'm making like these little clouds. And just kind of like go through the painting. They're also in the one I posted on Instagram today because I want to kind of like remind the viewer that this is not necessarily reality. Let's see. And then I'm not quite liking this totally, so we're going to do a little adjusting. My neighbor's kids are so cute. They're just hanging out outside when it's nice out. It's so cool. I don't think that's the color we want. Let's see. There we go. I know what we'll do. It's just going to take a little bit for me to be able to do it. But I think we can do it. I'm going to use some indigo to push these leaves back. But I'm going to wait for them to dry first. So we'll come back to that. Because I feel like the white part is working. It's just like it's feeling like it's all together. Or I could try to pull some of that red through. See how if I agitate my brush a bunch, because I just put down a bunch of wet paint, it pulls that red up. Julianette says, Nora, I love Finland so much. I've only been in the summer though. Oh, yeah, I bet it's beautiful in the summertime. Obviously very beautiful in the winter, but okay. So I'm going to move to a different part. Where should we go? Maybe we'll come up here. Yeah, move us up. Moving us up. I'm going to do it this way just so that we can come back to that violet together. Is this good and focused? Yeah. Let's do a coffee test. All right, we're reaching bearable levels. Great. I was feeling a little scared. All right, so I want to put sunflowers kind of throughout. I've been planting sunflowers in our garden. I can't wait. Cannot wait. Although right now I'm battling aphids. They've really been hamming it up. I got some neem oil. I've been spraying them with not just the sunflowers, my veggies. Spraying them. I'm going to do this just so you can actually see what I'm doing. There we go. Move for it. Sorry, guys. I just want to make sure you can actually see. Yeah, just been spraying everything. Yeah, it's like people that it's people like that, like Montana, because they're in the summer. The winter is brutal. I'm from the Caribbean, so even winter in Northern California is kind of brutal for me. See, it's all perspective. This painting is just for fun, right? Yeah, it's just for me. Well, I have a couple of large paintings in progress. I've pretty much always, because I've always been busy with other stuff, I've kind of landed myself in this situation where I'm almost reacting to shows I get asked to be in, and I don't necessarily have a huge archive of work that I'm creating. So it's like I don't have a ton of time. So someone asked me to be in a show, and I'm like making that painting for that show, and then just fine. But I just want to have a bunch of work that I'm making that I could potentially have in a show later, and the only way that'll happen is if I continue to push myself to work bigger and work on things that make me a little bit uncomfortable, and on things that are really just based on things that I want to paint, which sometimes I think can be easy to forget to do if you're just responding or reacting to things you have to paint. That makes sense. So just trying to remember to take the time to make large works and also works that I'm excited about just because I want to paint, just because I like painting. All right, I think these are, no, it's not dry. I'm going to move you in just a little bit so you can see better. We'll go all the way. Yeah, that's going to be much better. Oh, okay. Which I used to have like a big archive of work that I was working on, but then they get, swooped up or whatever. And we'll do a couple layers of leaves. I like when I don't have something to do for someone else, then I can do what I want. Not that I don't want to do stuff for other people. I mean, yeah, I think it's okay to have mixed feelings about it. Like I love doing group shows, but then it feeds into constantly respond. It's like the difference between taking clients and then treating yourself like a client. Like, what type of work do I want to do? Versus what type of work am I asked to do? Like sometimes there's a gap there, especially if we're constantly just responding to what other people want of us. And so, recognizing that it's okay, like you can still like doing work for others, right? And expect yourself to push through to find a new way of working, or ask yourself how it is that you want to be working, I think. Sunflower baby. Let's add some deets to those leaves. Now, Julianette says, would you say also these paintings for fun help you find clients that are more in agreement with what you enjoy doing? Yeah, definitely. Like, I mean, these are large works. I want to be working bigger. I also want to do a solo show where I'm asked to work in this way, where I can think really big. And so sometimes I think in order to make that happen for myself, I just have to do it, right? Which can feel really hard because you have to carve out the space to think in that way, and make that happen. And if you haven't been doing that, that can feel really challenging. At least for me, it can be really challenging because you have to adjust how you prioritize things. Like I'm still making work for group shows and stuff, but I realized that that was something that I was missing for me, was that I kind of haven't been doing, like, sustained large bodies of work. So, something's got to give. I can't do all of it. So I've been taking on less client work. Not that I haven't been taking on any, but definitely have been saying no more when the project doesn't quite align with what I want to be doing, so that then I can have space for this. Patty says, I just got to do a baby shower invitation for my friend with sunflowers. It was so fun. That's so cool, Patty. I love that. So let's see. I'm going to work on this person's face. I keep forgetting which way I'm supposed to go. We'll do. Why is it moving still? There we go. All right. I think that's already in focus. Julianette, oh, that's nice. I love it here also, be it summer or winter, but there's more to love in summer. Yep. There is something really nice about like having space to kind of in winter time kind of like isolate. I feel like this year probably felt a little harder just because we've been isolated. This eye's freaking me out. A lot of the times with gouache for me, I feel almost like I'm a sculptor. So you put the eye down and then I want to like pull the clay over it, but it's really paint. Like building in a different way. Let's use some of this pink. It always dries darker, but sometimes it's a mystery what it's going to look like. But with that warm tan color underneath, that like warm terracotta color underneath, I think it'll warm it up. Oh wow, it's already 12:33. Well, we'll do a few things here and then I'll probably call it. I want to change that hair color because it's not working for me. Let's see, what color? Maybe a green? Let's do green. Why not? It's just like too similar to the
the pants or to the shirt. There we go. Awesome. Dun, dun, dun. I think that looks better. I'll give her some lashes. I like doing those. Let's see.
My nails are so cute. Thanks, Kelly. Is there Project Friday? Yeah, there's Project Friday. We're going to be doing Vago green tomorrow. So if you don't have a Vago green, that's totally okay. Just whatever green you have. And if you want to keep up to date, like with what's going to be going on with, Lunch Club, I send out a newsletter now every Monday. And you can sign up for that on my website. And Lunch Club tomorrow, Project Friday is always on Instagram. So we'll be on Instagram tomorrow. And thanks for hanging out. I hope this was fun. This is such a fun way for me to connect with you. And I appreciate you being here. And if you wanted more videos, there are other ones on my YouTube, which I'm sure most of you have watched. But if you haven't, there's other ones. And you can just turn off the sound if you don't want to hear me talking and put some music on. All right. Well, hopefully I'll see you tomorrow. I hope you all have a good rest of your day. Snag a Vax appointment if you can. Drink some water and check in on your neighbor. Bye, everyone.